Hi there, it's Patty from Patty's Crafty Spot, and today I'm going to give you a quick tutorial on how I made the center of my lighthouse. This is a pattern by Jim the Gentleman Crafter. In the center of the lighthouse I am using Kathy Orta's hidden hinge system. I will post links to both of them at the bottom of the video. Just want to make it clear that I did not create either of these. I am just using other people's, and I'm going to show you a quick tutorial on how I did it. The lighthouse measures almost 23 inches tall. It is a very tall lighthouse. It's the biggest piece I have made, just to give you a quick look. It is tall. I cannot fit the whole thing in my camera. And I can't get my camera back. The top part, let me just show you real quick. I put magnets in the top of mine so the cover will stay on. You can see the tea light is in there, right there. What I did for this, let me turn this off, is on the bottom of the lighthouse what I did was I just cut pieces of chipboard out. I have no measurements for it because I was just using scraps, but what I did was I just lined it up, traced it out, cut it. I don't know if you can kind of see the shadow where the magnets are. What I did in the chipboard was I put the magnets on, traced it, dug holes out of the chipboard with an X-Acto knife to countersink the magnets so it's kind of smooth at the top so they're not going to stick out, because if you add the magnets sticking out on here and on here, you're going to create a gap. So I didn't want the gap. So what I did was I put the magnets on here, traced it, dug out with an X-Acto knife to countersink the magnets, and then I covered over the top with cardstock. For the bottom part where they matched up was I took and I put little marks on where my magnets were, centered it up, and then kind of stuck it. So you can just use a little bit of white paint or something on your magnets. Do this before you put your pattern paper on. So I kind of marked where I wanted it to go, marked it, and then of course your magnets are going to be stuck here, your extra magnets. So you're going to see where they're going to go. Trace around with a little pencil, dig out with the X-Acto knife to countersink the magnets there. I will try to do another tutorial on the magnets on how I did it, so you can at least get the idea. It won't be this piece, but I'll give you an idea how to do the magnets. It's pretty simple. If not, there is other YouTube tutorials out there on doing the magnets. If I get time, I'll try to do a quick thing on magnets. So, and it finds its spot every time. So anyway, I dug out the holes, put the magnets in, glued them, put my pattern paper over, and now it finds its spot every time. And it's pretty sturdy. It is not going to fall off. So that's how I did that. My album now, I will show you. And this is the base of the lighthouse. This is a very heavy piece too. It has a little pull-out drawer, and then I added shells all around the bottom of the base, just because it's a lighthouse, and I wanted the shells on it. I used graphic 45 paper and then another brand too, but I don't remember what it was. The graphic 45 is by the sea, and then I cut out this cute little poem to put in the base of the lighthouse, just it's a little hidden thing under there. What I'm going to show you is how I made the center of the lighthouse, where my pictures are. I created 4 pages of flip pages. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Each one holds photos, but front and back, and they flip. On each one here I created a pocket, so you can add more photos. And it's a little flip open. And that's what I'm going to show you how I made. So to do this, you will need your scoreboard and a piece of cardstock. Your cardstock is going to be 5 3/4 by 11 inches, and we are going to score it. You're going to create 1/2 inch folds and 1/4 inch folds for your gaps between your pages. So I will post all the measurements on the bottom, because it'll be kind of hard to keep up with all of it. So, and I had to write it out so I don't have to make this video again, because I've had a few outtakes. So the first measurement you're going to do is 1/2 inch, and then 1 inch, 1.5, 1 3/4, 2 1/4, 2 3/4, 3 inches, 3.5, 4, 4 1/4, 4 3/4, and 5 1/4. Now you can see all your folds. I'm sure the camera's, if I angle it like this, maybe you'll see it. See all the folds. Now what I usually do, just to make it easy to do this, is fold your first piece over. And a good hint is, if you line up this to the edge because your paper's square, you're going to keep your fold going across straight. So do that and then score it. And then I like to fold it back. And just crease it again. And then do that for each and every one. Make sure again you're lining it up to your edge of your paper, so because you're going to get a nice square fold. But you don't want your folds to go crooked because then it's going to mess it all up. And you're going to do that for each one, going back and forth. To save time, I already folded this, so you don't have to sit here watching me fold it back and forth. So here's a piece. I've already got it all folded. And now what we're going to do is we are going to create our little hinges. So what you want to do is on the back side, you can mark it if you need to, just so you know. But on the first one, you're going to don't touch the first 1/2 inch, because that's what we're going to use to hinge it into the book. So in the next folds, so you can see it's all folded, you're going to put either glue or score tape on one side. So don't do the first piece, just fold that out of the way if it makes it easier. And just put glue on your first hinge. Like that. And then fold. What we're going to do is we're going to pinch the first part here. So you see that? Oops. Pinch it. So you're going to just do this and stick it all the way down. And make sure it just adheres well. Fab tack goes pretty quick, so it's going to go just as quick as using the tape. I like to use it because it gives you just a little playtime just in case you mess up. So on the next one, now on here, you're going to have your little 1/4 inch fold here. Oops, let's see if you can see it. We're going to go with our little 1/4 inch fold. We're not going to touch that. The next section is going to be 2 1/2 inches, and that's what we're going to create the next glue in. So don't do the 1/4 inch, do the 1/2 inch. And then again, we're just going to pinch it. Pinch the two together. And I'm sure my color choices here are probably not, everything's black. Sorry about that. Just pinch it and get it to stick. So now what you've got is, you've got two of these tabs so far. So again, you're going to have your little 1/4 inch gap here. Don't touch that. And you're going to have 2 1/2 inches. Let's see, 2 1/2 inches right here. So again, we're going to glue in with the 1/2 inches. Why does that get my glue down? And you're just, I mean, this whole thing, it's only 4 times because we're only creating 4 pages. So again, and glue it. So now we have 3. We're up to our 3 pieces. And then our last one, we're just going to glue it. Again, don't touch the quarter-inch spacing that you got right here. And we're going to glue. And we're just going to glue that last piece. If it's easier, like I said, just mark on the back the spots where you're going to glue. You don't want any glue on those quarter-inch pieces just because you're in between your pages. So we're not going to want any glue there. So if you put it down, make sure everything's glued. So this is what you end up with now after you've glued it. So you got all your little tabs here. All your little tabs right here. Now what you want to do also is you're going to cut out a piece of chipboard that is going to be I'm sorry, I forgot the measurements. 2 inches by 11, which is going to be basically what your cardstock paper is now. And you're going to glue it on to here, just like this. So it's going to make it nice and solid to go into your book. And you can glue it or you can use score tape, whatever you prefer. So let me just put some glue on real quick. And I am just rushing along, otherwise I would be very detailed on my piece, but I don't need this for anything, so it's not like I need to waste a lot of product. So what you're going to do is just line it up on your chipboard and press it down. Make sure it's all nice and solid. Go in between the strips here, and you can fold those down just to make sure it's in there nice and good. So now what you have is your hinges on here to put your paper. And just make sure it's nice and even. Now to make the flip pages, we're going to need to cut this part. So what you want to do is cut 3 3/4 from the bottom and 3 3/4 from the top on each piece. So once you cut the first one, it's pretty easy. So measure over 3 3/4 from the top. So 3 3/4 from this way, and then from the bottom up, same piece, 3 3/4, and just mark it. And you can actually just mark it across because you are going to cut each one of them. So that will show you there, and then I'll put my mark here. You can just go straight across. And we are going to cut each one of those. This is going to create our flip pages. So if you just cut this one, it folds now. This one, this one, and this one. And then the bottom part, same thing where your mark is. There. And then a good way that Kathy likes to do it too, which works out pretty good, which doesn't really matter for these because your pages are going to be bigger than your flip parts, but just so you don't have to worry about it, clip all the little corners off. So you just angle on the top parts a little bit. So you can see it's angled right here. We just cut all those off. Flip it over and do the bottom. And then the center pieces too, you can angle those too, just really quick. So you're just going to go top and bottom, so you're creating the V right there. Just a little one, you don't need to do a lot, just a little quick. Like I said, it doesn't matter on this so much if you're creating the other, adding other pages to it, just makes it easier. But because the photo pages we're making are going to be bigger, it doesn't really matter. But just to follow the way her pattern goes, in case you use this to add other pages to things, you'll already have it. Okay, so as you can see, we created the V's in there. So now to create the photos, what you're going to do is you're going to take a piece of cardstock, 8.5 by 11, and you're going to cut it to the 11 by 4.5. Let me just double check. And I will post all these measurements on the bottom. So there's 4.5. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your 4.5 by 11, and you're going to fold it in half. And that you're going to have to make 12 of these, because these are one for each page. So again, just take it, fold it in half. Make sure it's lined up at the bottom so you're nice and square. And then you're going to just use your bone folder and do that. Now to put the pages in, you're going to line them up, open them up, and they're going to line up top to bottom. So make sure when you put your first page in that you are lined up to the top of here, because you don't want it over, because you're going to not fit in your lighthouse. So make sure your top page is lined up to here, and just keep that in mind when you put in your bottom page. You're going to want to do the same thing. So when you put your page in, make sure you are lined up to the bottom. The middle page, you're just going to center. And it's just going to fit on the center tab. You're just going to kind of eyeball it and center it up so it lines up with the rest of your pages. So to put these in, you're going to want to use glue. You can use score tape. The only thing is, if you use score tape, you could be sticky at the bottom when you go to put your other photo pockets in. So glue, you know, is just going to harden up. So what you want to do is take your glue, go as close to the edge as possible, because you want to leave as much for your pocket as you can. So you're going to go like that. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your first one, line it up here, again to the top, just fold it over. And you know what I did forget is glue on the other. Hold on one second. And I'll do another one just to show you. So when you glue, make sure you glue both edges and then just one bottom, because you need it to stick to both sides of your tab. So again, line it up to the top and the bottom. And you can just lay it down and press it down. Yeah, and then you have your first page. So now you have all your other tabs. When you do it, make sure you do it order top, middle, bottom. So you're going to be able to flip like the whole section because of the way it overlaps. Otherwise, you're not going to see like when you go to do it this way, when you grab the bottom one, you're going to have all the pages. Instead, like if you do the top and the bottom, you know, you're not going to get, you know, it flipping like this, because they're not going to be holding each other. So do top, middle, bottom. And you can just always eyeball the center ones, so they're all lined up the same. Once you do the first one, then it's easy. You can just line up the center ones as you glue them down. So then you would do the second one. Same thing, glue across the bottom. And then both the sides because of the tab. And over here. Try not to get glue in the center because then it's going to make it so you're not going to have a pocket. So then you just take your center tab now, and like I said, you're just going to eyeball it. Kind of center it the best you can. Using the tab as the center. If you want to get real picky, you could center, draw a middle part. And then you're just going to stick it both sides like that. And then you can see as how this is going. Now you got 1, 2, and then you do the bottom. I'm not going to do them all because it's the same thing 12 times. So for your pockets now, because you only have glued this part here, you now have a pocket at the top. So the pocket is, the measurement for the pocket is 8.5 by 4 3/4, and that's what this is. And actually I did do a 4th one, so let me just show you. Just so you see all 3 pages, rather. A 3rd one, I mean. So you get the idea. I didn't realize I cut it. And then again on the bottom piece, make sure you don't go any further than the bottom, because like I said, it won't fit in your lighthouse. And just squish it down. There, so now when you flip, your whole page is going to flip instead of individuals, like that. So like, now the pocket, like I said, it is 4 3/4 by 8.5, folded in half. You don't have to do anything with gluing these. Just add your pattern paper to the top. You will need 4 pieces to cover the whole thing. And then that's how you just created your little pocket. And then each one will have its own little pocket. So you have lots and lots of photos to hold. So when you're done creating that, now you can put this in before you start doing the pages or after. Just keep in mind the direction if you are using pattern paper that has images and stuff on it, that you put it in the correct direction. I, however, did not when I made this one, and I had to rip it off. Luckily it did come off, and I had to flip it around. And I was being so good when I did that. So you have your back side here, and all you're going to do is just glue it on one of your centers, just like this, right in the center. And that's what I did here. You can see the black chipboard. You could try building another one. I don't think it's only going to have room for one when you put it together. Just want to see for ha-has. You could get away with 2, doing 2 in there. Don't forget though, when you do put your photos in, it's going to make it bigger. So probably 1 would be the best. Plus the weight of it. It's going to get really heavy. It's already heavy now, so be careful when you on your base. Jim does suggest to double up the bottom of the chipboard. I did not, and it is kind of sagging. I do have to reinforce the drawer inside of that just so my thing doesn't kind of swoop. But he does suggest to double it up. I didn't, so I probably should have. Too late now because it's already together. But anyway, that's how I made that part. I hope you enjoyed it, and it answers. If you have any questions, just put it down. Send me a message on the bottom of the video. I will try to answer them. I'll put all the measurements and links up at the bottom. And thank you for watching.